Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the Skoda Super Estelle. Hello and welcome back to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel. If you're new to the channel, we do look at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. So if you're interested in cars and car brochures, please consider subscribing. Anyway, back to today's episode where we're looking at this, the Skoda Super Estelle. That Estelle word really is just something we used in the UK. It wasn't known by that in most places. It was just quite known as like the Skoda 105 or the Skoda 120, but for some reason in the UK we had to give it that Estelle name, and indeed by this time it was known as the Super Estelle. This is a 1983 brochure, so let's have a look at that now. And indeed, here is today's brochure. You can see at the bottom there, Super Estelle. So we know this one is a UK brochure, and in fact it's from August 1983. Like I say, the Estelle name, that's just a UK name. In most places it was just, like I say, didn't really have a name. It was just called the Skoda 105 or 120. But like I say, in the UK we insisted on having a name. But there it is. At the top there it says the surprising Skoda. Launched in 1976, ran all the way till 1990 in the UK, and when it came out in 76, it was the cheapest car to buy in Britain. Car Magazine tested it at the time and dubbed it the worst car in Britain. I think slowly it improved. By the 80s, it was actually not a bad car at all. I think it was quite a good little cheap economy car, really, in my opinion. Let's say cheap and cheerful, and certainly pensioners love these things. They bought them in huge quantities because they was inexpensive, and you could get into a brand new car for the price of a very used Escort. By about 1982, it's going to be about £2,700 on the road for a Super Estelle 120L. So very cheap and cheerful, I think. And the thing about these Skodas, particularly in the 80s, there's lots of jokes surrounding the Skoda. Lots of, how terrible these cars, but they really weren't, and they never deserved the jokes that seemed to surround them. It's kind of like one of those cars. I wish at the time I had money to buy one. I would have bought one new, even though depreciation was huge and you could buy them very cheap in not much time. But for me, they made sense, really, as a cheap mode of transport, and an interesting mode of transport, particularly with that engine at the back. It always intrigued me, I must admit. But anyway, enough waffle. Let's open the brochure up and have a look inside, learn a bit more about the car and the different spec levels you can actually buy into at the time. And as we open the page, it kind of reminds me, actually, another reason why these seem to sell so well in the UK. The dealers were always really nice and really friendly, often like a family run small dealership. So you can, particularly as an older person, you can go in there, have a bit of a chat and buy your Skoda with confidence. And I think that was always a key point to them as well. Anyway, we start off with this, which is the base model, the 105S. First of all, it tells you a little bit about it, which is quite interesting. Then tells you a little bit more about this base model, the 105S, and then we move through the range. So let's start here. So it starts by saying you're looking at Britain's top value for money car, and now the new 1983 Skodas are better equipped than ever. Skoda puts safety first. The latest rack and pinion steering combined with British radial ply tyres ensure light and precise handling. Servo assisted dual circuit brakes and energy absorbing construction give you the confidence of driving a solid, well designed car. And Skoda understands family needs. Child safety locks are fitted as standard, as are Kangol inertia rear seat belts and laminated windscreen. This year we've added new rectangular headlights and a new rear light cluster. They're certainly eye-catching, but that's Skoda safety. And I guess we should add one more thing. I mean, it tells you there they've added some new things like this new rear light cluster and the rectangular headlights. If we look at the actual picture, it does actually show round headlights. I think this is an older picture because it's also got chrome bumpers on this as well. In '83 they actually had black bumpers, and it does have a little note at the end to say these will come with black painted bumpers or black bumpers rather than these chrome ones. So this is actually an older picture, which is unusual, isn't it, to stick the older picture in here rather than the updated one. But never mind. We'll continue looking through the text. It does say here Skoda first again for reliability, and yeah, also a little bit of rally success into there as well, which also helps sales, I think. Rally proven reliability, you can't beat it. 10 class wins in the last 10 years for the Lombard RSA Rally, the toughest rally in Europe. And then it goes on to tell you, it's great at beating off rust and corrosion. It goes on to tell us Skoda, generous inside but miserly on the road. You'll find more space in a Skoda than some cars costing twice or 3 times the price. It'll take the whole family and granny too, strange sentence, with elbow and leg room for up to 5 people. The seats are well upholstered and there's door-to-door carpeting as standard. To make you feel at home, there's a boot that'll swallow almost everything a family needs, including the kitchen sink. It's a very strangely written brochure, this one. On the road it's a different story. You won't worry much about petrol prices when you're driving the 120 LSE, for example. You'll be getting over 44 miles per gallon at a constant 56. That's real economy motoring. Skoda, reassuringly yours. It's a good feeling driving the new 83 Skodas. You'll get a free 24-month factory unlimited mileage warranty on every model and a network of over 250 specially selected dealers, ready, willing and able, etc, etc, etc. So that was another plus point, of course. You buy a used car, you don't get a warranty. You bought this car for the price of a used car, you got, a good 2-year warranty with it as well. And then we get a little bit of an unusual chart early on, really, for the fuel consumption figures. So this is where the UK range starts. The 105S, the Skoda Super Estelle range starts with the 105S, and at an extraordinary reasonable price. It's an extraordinary car. Tough, economic. You can expect 35.8 miles per gallon in town traffic and very comfortable. There's extra room, just fold down the back seats, and extras like the laminated windscreen, heated rear window and full carpeting throughout at no extra cost. That's Skoda value. So for this time, not badly equipped either for a very cheap car. And there it is, that base model. As often is the case with these cars, early 80s, bit of a rear fog light tacked on as a bit of an afterthought just to meet the UK regulations, and a little Skoda badge in nice colours, blue, white and red. I presume that's representing the colours of the Czechoslovakian flag where it was manufactured. And you can see the 105S denoting this lowly model. Engine at the back, of course, on these, rear wheel drive. Little bit of a boot spoiler to make it look a little bit fancier or fast. Obviously it wasn't fast, but there we go. And there we go. I do quite like the designs, and like I say, I don't know why, I don't know if it's just because it's different, but I do like rear engine cars. Even these nice little mud flaps on there as well. But remember, like it says later on, it does tell you these chrome bumpers, you do not get these chrome bumpers on the 83 model. This is just an old model pictured, because they probably couldn't be bothered changing the pictures, but there we go. And then a picture of the front. Yeah, we get that Super Estelle badge on there. Like I say, it tells you in the text that rectangular headlamps are the new thing for 83. These are obviously round. But maybe they're round because this is the base model, and the base model did still get round front headlamps. So I'm a little bit unclear from the brochure about that. It just says rectangular headlights for everything, doesn't it? But obviously round. But even so, the bumpers would still have been black at this time. And then if we turn the page, we get the next model up, the 120L, the 120LE, and yeah, you can features in these actual rectangular headlamps now. So maybe that base model did just come with the round headlamps still in 83, although this one is still showing the chrome bumpers, which aren't the case in 83. They should be black, and then the LE is showing this big black bumper, which is how it would have been. Anyway, let's start by reading some of the text of the 120L. Okay, so the main difference really here is going to be telling us this has got a 1.2 engine. The other one was a 1046cc, I do believe. So we've gone up to a larger engine basically. So the tried and tested rear mounted 1.2 litre engine of the 120L gives you all the power you'll need. Skillfully designed, the car reacts well in the worst weather conditions and has an impressive array of extras that are standard. Relax in the fully reclining front seats and adjustable head restraints. Check both door mirrors, switch on your new rectangular quartz halogen headlamps, height adjustable of course, and take the road in style. You know, they don't feel like much in the way of equipment at all, but certainly regular viewers of the channel would note having two mirrors. You know, the big manufacturers weren't all putting two mirrors on. And here we go, a driver and a passenger door mirror. And I do like the styling actually, it does look nice. I mean, I do actually think it's an attractive looking car. Inside, nothing to get too excited, lots of black plastic, unusual switchgear though, to make you feel you are in something a little bit different. Next model up is the 120LE. So the 120LE stands out from the crowd. The matte black impact molding bumpers and alloy wheels give it a certain air of determined dominance. Inside you'll find comfort enough for the most grueling journey. Apart from the latest dashboard features, you can expect full carpeting, high effective soundproofing, comfortable seats and a high quality of finish. The 1.2 litre engine and quartz halogen headlights add to the feeling of Skoda security. Why not take a test drive now? It's a pleasure. There's no better proof of real Skoda value, a mark to beat the world at a price that can't be beaten. And there it is with those big black bumpers on there and those interesting looking alloy wheels. So on this particular model you can see you've got a little bit of kind of like a black scoop on there as well. That's interesting stuff. And of course extra are these little rubbing strips so you can park it in the supermarket car park without worrying too much about it. We do also get a little bit of an image of that 1.2 litre engine, and then this main picture is this higher spec 120LE. You can just about make out these alloy wheels at the bottom of the page there. Skoda written in the rubbing strip. And then the top of the range model this time, the 120L SE. Ooh, very basic sunroof in there. Looks like we've got a vinyl roof as well. All the fancies. You notice there's no Skoda Rapid in this one, sort of the coupe version. That didn't come out till 84. Anyway, let's have a look at the text for this top model. So the 120L SE, this is the top of the Skoda range. The car that took the Class 1 win in the Lombard RAC Rally, unmodified. Interesting. The uprated 1.2 litre engine provides real power when you need it. A twin choke carburetor, oil cooler and rev counter complete the power package. Standard features like the radio stereo cassette, fully reclined front seats, colour matched vinyl roof and tinted glass panel sunroof puts the 120 LSE in a class of its own. I think this is the one I want, actually. Pity I can't buy one now, unfortunately, but there we go. It certainly looks something a little bit different, doesn't it, with that vinyl roof and that sort of sunroof, which looks like a very cheap aftermarket sunroof, but nevertheless, I do like it, particularly like it in this red colour. If we look down, we even get a bit of a glimpse inside. It doesn't really look anything special inside, doesn't it, with them black seats. We do get a headrest though, so you know, that's quite nice. And you can also see this unusual position of this radio on this kind of like slope. This is also quite an unusual feature on this top of the range model. You can fold down the rear seats, and remember it's the engine's in the back there, so you're not like extending the space in the boot really, but you can fold this down. You must be able to get a little bit of an extra bit of space underneath this parcel shelf. That's interesting. I never knew they actually had that little feature, just to get a little bit more extra luggage space. One more thing I should point out, as we seem to be going on about headlights a lot, twin round headlamps on this top of the range model. And then we get the specifications, which I'll zoom in on a moment. If you notice at the top there, it's actually showing 1, 2, 3, 5 models. Interestingly, the base model is this side. Opposite way around it normally is, but still they're showing 5 different models. So we've seen the 105S, the 120L and the 120LE. No sign of that 120LS. It's not really mentioned anywhere on there other than these specifications, interestingly. And then of course that 120LSE, the top of the range model. They all come with a 4-cylinder water-cooled engine. The top 4 models come with an 1174cc. It's just that very basic 105S comes with that smaller 1 or 1046cc engine. It also gives you an idea of the bhp. So that 120LS sounds like it's very similar spec to that 120LSE, probably just a few more extras on the LSE model. Now I'll zoom in a little bit further. I'm not going to go through it all, but maybe we'll just point out a few things. So of course you can pause this screen anytime if you want to look at it in greater detail, but we can see on there that they all come with a 4-speed manual gearbox, synchro mesh on all forward gears. 83, that's kind of like a time when a lot of the manufacturers were moving to 5-speed gearboxes, so a little bit behind the times, although there were still manufacturers still using 4-speed gearboxes for sure. Okay, so just moving down there again then, so alloy wheels, I think we should mention. Top 3 models got the alloy wheels, the base models just got the steel wheels, and maybe we've got a little bit answer to these headlamp situation. So it's telling us rectangular quartz headlamps on the model up from the base model and the model up from that. So I guess the round headlamps that we saw on that base model, the first picture we saw, are correct. It did come with the more old-fashioned round headlamps, interestingly. It also goes on to tell us the twin quartz halogen headlamps are on that top of the range model which we saw, but also one model down as well, the rest having a single quartz headlight. Other than that, I suppose little interesting things like rear fog lamps. You got one rear fog lamp on the base 2 models, twin on the top 3. Top of the range model coming with that vinyl roof and radio, stereo, cassette, all the fancy bits. Also got this rather nice little page, the Skoda getting serviced. And also a picture of the engine at the back. I think we'll certainly zoom in on that. A little bit of interesting information which we might just have a look at this too. So it says Skoda in the UK growing every day. The first Skodas were built over 80 years ago in Czechoslovakia, a land of hard snowy winters and tough testing terrain. They were first imported into the UK in 1948, and since then the British motorist has come to appreciate the rugged design and economy. There are almost 100,000 Skodas on our roads today. And here is that little bit of an interesting image of that engine bay. And then we get this very interesting little image, all these Skodas on this transporter and this plant, so I'll just zoom in on those. There we go, all those different models on that transporter there. You can see the different spec'd vehicles now. And then all these Skodas at this plant, all laid out in all the different colours. I always like them interesting old images. And then finally the UK address at the time, and you just about make out the date there, August 1983. So there we go, the little Skoda Estelle. I really like these cars actually. I'll probably get some stick in the comments for liking these, but I think they were great budget cars actually. And certainly at one time you could pick these up for next to nothing. Now they're starting to become a little bit more collectible and the prices are rising. Let me know of any of your experiences with this little Skoda, and please do like and subscribe if you've not done already. Thank you so much for watching. Please do take care and we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.